The definition of a dream is a cherished aspiration, ambition, or ideal. We're all born with heads full of dreams of who we will become one day, but sometimes society creates more barriers to achieving those dreams for some people than for others. According to Girls Inc., 74% of girls feel pressure to please everyone. According to the Dove Self-Esteem Fund, 70% of girls believe they do not measure up or are not good enough in some way. According to the National Report on Self-Esteem, 98% of girls say they feel an immense pressure from external sources to look a certain way. These pressures facing young girls are just a small sample of factors negatively impacting girls' dreams in today's society. Organizations such as the Girl Guides of Canada seek to combat these negative factors. The Girl Guides is an organization for girls aged 5 to 17 that teaches leadership skills, empowerment, and shows girls how they can change the world. One of our clients here at Brock Street Animal Hospital, Morgan, is the mother of a young girl in the Girl Guides. For one of their meetings, she reached out to Dr. Hayley King to speak to the girls about what it's like being a vet and why girls should chase their dreams. But first, let's grab our Timbits and head to Morgan's house to meet her dogs, Darth, Tinkerbell, and Josie. Now, up until this moment in my life, I had never experienced the immense pleasure of being swarmed by two beautiful little pugs, and quite honestly, it was among the best moments of my entire life. So needless to say, I was just a tad bit distracted when we first arrived, but I needed to get myself back on track soon, as we had important work to do. The first order of business being discussing how Morgan wound up at Brock Street Animal Hospital.
When Morgan and I first met, maybe she'll be able to answer that one better than me, but I know she's brought her dogs, Darth and Tinkerbell, to our clinic for many years now. And yeah, over the years we've gotten to know each other really well, and I always like seeing Morgan.
So we moved to Whitby in 2003. It's been a while.
Oh, wow.
And at that time we had a cat. We had no dogs yet. And I was looking for a vet, and Brock Street was recommended to me from someone that I absolutely trust because I know how much they care about animals. So that's where it started with our cat, and then when we added to our family, we kept coming to Brock Street.
Okay, so a couple years ago, Darth here, his family moved pretty close to the clinic. And it was a new house, so there were no fences around the backyard. And one day he slipped his lead, and he made his way over to the clinic. And so he was sitting there out front of the clinic before 8 o'clock in the morning, and that's when we opened, just sitting there waiting. So the first person to arrive to work that day was greeted by Darth.
So my daughter joined Girl Guides when she was 5. And I knew very little about it because I never did it when I was little. But I come to learn they have a really great program. It's very supportive and focuses on empowering girls and making them comfortable and feel confident in themselves. The program itself has basically a curriculum. And it's all about building girls up, talking about they have different categories like building friendships, and they talk about science and encouraging them going to science, and there's just all sorts of great things for girls to build confidence in an environment where they're supported and have strong role models. When we were planning our Girl Guides activities for the year, we came up with the idea of having strong female role models that were in jobs that would be interesting to the girls, to come in and talk to the girls and kind of empower the girls and help them believe in themselves to carry out their dreams. So first person I thought of was Dr. Hayley, because I've known Hayley for a long time now, and I think of Hayley as a very strong, smart female role model. And on top of that, she's a vet, which I knew the girls would find very interesting. So we had Dr. Hayley in, and the girls absolutely loved their visit. They went home and told their parents how exciting it was and all the things that they talked about. And the girls had great questions. They impressed me. So it turned out to be a really good idea.
So the night that I talked with the Sparks group, yeah, it was a lot of fun actually, and the girls had lots of energy, and it was a little bit like at first before we started, everybody was kind of like chitty-chatting and moving around a lot, and but once we started, they were actually very quiet and they listened very carefully, and they answered lots of my questions. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was good.
Like my mom and Morgan, I too thought the evening was very successful. It was really fun to watch the girls interact with my mom and be very engaged with the topic. It's definitely something that I would like to do again. Before we left Morgan's house, I decided to ask one more important question to my mom and Morgan. That question is, why is it important that we stress to girls that they chase their dreams?
So why do I think it's important that we stress to girls that they chase their dreams? I think it's important for any young person, like, to encourage them to find something that they're really interested in and that they love to do, and to pursue that as a career. And I think probably for girls in particular, yeah, it's important for their self-esteem to be encouraged as much as possible by as many different people as possible. So their family, teachers, coaches, friends, and maybe people like me too, where I'm kind of a relative stranger to the girls that I talked to at the Sparks group that night, but just it's another person kind of talking to them about that, so hopefully they believe in themselves.
I have a little girl who I want to see reach all of her dreams, but in addition to that, I grew up being a fairly independent female who was going to do what I wanted to do no matter what, but I also recognize that it's not always easy, because growing up, a lot of fields, there weren't a lot of women in yet. So when I went to university and did my degree, I did a math degree, and of the 2,000 students, there was very few females. So when my dad was sitting in the audience and someone asked who he was there for, he said, "Oh, that's my daughter in the middle," because that's how much I stood out, because there wasn't a lot of females. Although I see times have changed a lot. Even in my workplace, when I look at senior management, when I started, it was all male, and not so much anymore. The world has realized that there's a lot of value to add, and I just want my girl and other girls to be able to see the same thing.
Overall, it was really interesting for me to see those girls interact with my mom and look inspired as they spoke to her. It really made me think about how everyone, even myself, can have a positive influence on the younger generation and encourage them to chase their dreams. The Girl Guides is a great place to start. You can visit the Girl Guides of Canada website to get signed up as an adult volunteer, or to put your child into the Girl Guides so that they too can be empowered. This has been Fionna Mason from Brockstrom Animal Hospital in Whitby, bringing compassionate veterinary care to your pets since 2002.